We are autistic. When we were kids, we couldn't speak. In this world that was not made for us, art is how we thrive.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
Hi, I'm ManMan. I use they them pronouns.
We are actually autistic artists, and we're here today to talk about attention and performance. Um, I wanted to start off talking a little bit about my experience with attention with eating. Um, for as long as I can remember, anytime I am eating food with a group of people, I feel very intense anxiety, and as a result have a lot of stomach aches in the process of eating. In high school, I was known for being a graceful eater, and I feel like that has sort of extended throughout my life, that I'm sort of like, I'm always trying to move in a nice way that in my mind will draw less attention to myself because I don't like the feeling of attention. But unfortunately, by eating, in a way that I thought was not drawing attention to myself, then I stood out on the opposite spectrum. And my friends would always point it out, like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty when she's eating, like she's so graceful when she's eating, and so that kind of backfired. But I don't know what it is about the process of eating that is anxiety inducing for a lot of people who experience SM. Um, I wonder if it is the idea that eating is often accompanied by conversation. um, and any situation where I know there's expectation to speak increases my anxiety. Um, but on the flip side of that, if I am performing, if I'm on stage dancing, or if I'm playing taiko for someone, I don't feel any of that anxiety. Um, so there's two sort of different versions of attention here, and we'd like to sort of discuss a bit how those are different, how our bodies feel different in each of those situations. And I don't know that there's any big conclusion that we can make today, but I think that it can be helpful for us to just talk through our own individual um, experience with attention and avoiding it versus seeking it, I suppose.
Yeah, I on this topic of eating, it opened up this whole Pandora box of my memories. I um I do, hearing the way Carrie talk about it, I I started asking myself, oh, what was it like growing up eating? I know that I had memories of myself feeling really uncomfortable eating with strangers, eating with people that I don't know very well. Um, I did share a story of me like ended up having to hide in a room to eat rather than eating with my a very close friends of mine in school with her family. And then I remember majority of the time when I'm sharing meals with family, friends, or relative, I I would always like going through imaginary conversation in my head or envious of people who can participate in conversation. And I remember imagining myself, oh, maybe that's something I could acquire as a skills and aspire someday that I could just speak. Um, and I remember asking my dad, like, how do you engage in conversation? And because I guess, like you said, having meals, like conversation, it's a big part of that. Um, and I know I have had conversation with people that there are certain families who don't talk at all when having meals. Um, and whereas where I grew up, Chinese family always have big, like round table style dinner and lots of conversation. And I'm always the one that who didn't talk much and also ate really slow. And I love staring at the TV, and which also became something that the adults would kind of talking about, like how I is that why you eat slow and it's unhealthy for you, and that's I carry a lot of shame around that. But now looking back, I realize that's actually a coping mechanism for me. And like similar to you, Carrie, I always wonder like why in a classroom situation or on stage. I actually enjoy being MC on stage. And I enjoyed teaching like when I am the person who is like in control of the flow and the stage, and to me teaching feels a lot like performance as well. That's a whole different thing. That it's a kind of attention that I enjoy and I seek as well. Whereas on a dinner table that involves like motion, like eating, and it's why is that so different and difficult? I don't know if we can have an answer. Maybe it will open up a lot more, which I know in our private conversation we did. We opened up a lot more that we didn't notice or recognize. Yeah.
Or accept.
Right.
Okay. Well, we look forward to going a little bit deeper into this conversation after we take a breath. You can click the link below to take you to our deep dive, and thanks for joining us.